Hello, hello. We are back with another episode of Prolcast. Got a lot of good stuff to get into today. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Yeah, you guys can hear me. Just give me a second. I'm going to get my mojo going and we'll get into the news. Got some good stuff. We're going to be talking about book banning, rise of the freaking Karens, going crazy with the books, some stuff going on with the Ukraine war, the crazy ass shit that DeSantis is getting up to with the migrants. Totally disgusting, man. Yeah, so just give me a minute. Get nice and comfortable, get a few puffs of this in, and we'll get going in like a minute, man. Hope you guys are doing good. If you're not already following, go ahead and give me a follow. We do news reactions and breakdowns every day. I react to some stuff on YouTube. It's usually pretty fun. Just one moment. Perfect. The perfect concoction. All right. Bam. Alrighty, so our first article is, like I said, about book banning. There have been a lot of groups around the US, like I said, Karens, just wine moms with nothing better to do, who are in a frenzy over LGBTQ books, as well as other books that we'll get into as we read this article. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this article comes from Common Dreams, and it was written by Julia Conley. Book banning efforts rising at unprecedented rate, U.S. libraries report. Right-wing attempts to ban books are showing no signs of slowing down, according to a report released Friday by the American Library Association, and in fact have reached an unprecedented level, with libraries and bookstores increasingly facing legal threats over the materials on their shelves. The organization, which has been tracking book banning efforts for more than 20 years, found that so far in 2022, parents and other community members have challenged 1,651 different books and have issued 681 complaints across the country. Here's a tweet from American Library Association. 681 challenges of books in the first 8 months of this year, involving 1,651 different titles. I think this kind of started with the CRT scare, them trying to ban books about the history of slavery and all this stuff, man. I mean, it's just right out of the fascist playbook. They even banned the book Mouse, which was a children's slash like teenager graphic novel that dealt with Nazis and fascism. So you see where their priorities lie, right? They're giving the game away right there. It's, they're fascists and they're burning books just like the freaking Nazis did, man. Like, I mean, basically burning books, trying to keep their children freaking pure and Christian as usual. In 2021, 1,597 individual books were the subject of challenges, which can include written complaints, forms provided by and submitted to a library, or social media posts in which people demand books be removed from a library's collection. Friday's report showed that right-wing groups like Moms for Liberty have escalated their attacks on library patrons' right to access certain books, with 27 police reports having been filed so far this year over accusations that librarians are providing inappropriate or quote-unquote pornographic material to children. So they're calling the police over books, not even in a school library, just in the public library. That's a whole new level of freaking authoritarian and insane, dude. From freaking Moms for Liberty. What a fucking joke, man. That name is just so fucking hypocritical. Come on, man. Children need to be exposed to complex ideas at a young age so they have the ability to take in different perspectives and think about things critically for themselves, But we have a huge portion of the population, thankfully not a majority, but I would say like around 25 to 35% of the US population who is just anti-intellectual. They want to stay in that age of Christian fundamentalism, which basically in their minds is like a whitewash censored version of the American dream, like, and it's typical in like fascist behavior to want to just harken back to those days that never really existed, that are exaggerated glory days, you know, and anything that goes against that image, anything that is considered immoral, they just want completely out of the minds of the youth and completely out of education. You see it all over the place. Governors like Rick DeSantis doing insane shit. Like this happened maybe a month ago where they were trying to set up a month or two ago where they were trying to set up a registry in colleges in Florida to determine the politics of the professors there and the staff there, and they were going to take away funding from schools that were deemed to be like too politically leaning in one direction or the other. But that's just an excuse to cut down on just left-leaning politics in schools, you know, which is what this is all about, man. You know, like the Party for Freedom at it again with their censorship, as usual. We're truly fearful that at some point we will see a librarian arrested for providing constitutionally protected books on disfavored topics, Deborah Caldwell Stone, director of the Office of Intellectual Freedom at ALA, told the New York Times. Book challenges this year have mainly focused on titles that center Black or LGBTQ plus characters, according to the Times. So there you go, right there, man. They hate Black and gay people, and they love fascism. The graphic novel Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe, a memoir about the author's coming of age as a non-binary person, has been the most frequently targeted book so far this year. The book was at the center of a vote in Jamestown Township, Michigan last month, in which residents rejected essential funding for the town's library, prompting concerns that the library will be forced to close within the next year. It's just insane the lengths that these people will go to avoid things that they don't like, man. And it is as simple as that. It's like, that's why they're called reactionaries. It's a gut reaction to something without taking the time to understand and process and get all angles of it. And that's just what leads to bigotry, man. And the U.S. has had a problem, I would say, since like the 60s, 70s, of just anti-intellectualism pervading throughout society. And I think a big part of that was McCarthyism, where they had that huge wave of anti-communist propaganda, and which basically told the American people to shut off your brain, don't think capitalism in the American way is the best, and that kind of binary binary thinking just breeds ground for anti-intellectualism, you know? Let's see. Yeah, parents in a town in Washington also filed police reports against the school district for including genderqueer in a school library's collection, and a Republican lawmaker sued Barnes & Nobles to prohibit selling the books to minors, a lawsuit that was dismissed last month. How fucking ridiculous is that? So not only are they targeting public institutions and trying to censor public institutions, they're also trying to censor private businesses from selling books, man. When does the censorship stop? They always complain about the censorship of from the left, like, but what they're talking about from the left, they're usually talking about literal Nazis being shut down on like Twitter, you know? And here we are, just them trying to censor educational material, man. Stuff that's used to break down boundaries between people. But you already know this. They love boundaries. They hate everything that may make them face things within themselves that don't conform to what they believe society should be and how people should operate in society, man. You know, it's it's crazy to think that in the year 2022, shit like this still happens, man. You know, we and I've said it before on the show, like the right, they're good at organizing, and they're good at organizing on the grassroots level and getting their hateful bullshit to get shot into the zeitgeist, you know. And we need to have people on the left to form coalitions to combat this, you know, and speak up louder and get on the media and talk about this and combat that propaganda, or it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, you know. It's insane. So that was the first article. We're going to be getting into some stuff going on in the Ukraine in just a second. That was just a lot. Give me just 1 second. Hope y'all are doing good. A little more mellow today, just freaking waking up and trying to get through the day, man. You guys know how it is. All right. So again, we have just the constant saber rattling and chest beating between the U.S. and Russia over Ukraine. Here we have Biden warning Putin about tactical weapons, while the U.S. continues to try to back Russia into a corner to get them to get out of the Ukraine, obviously. But they're playing with fire, man. The more and more they squeeze and put pressure on the Russia, the more likely Putin is to take drastic actions, you know? So we're going to get into this article. We actually have 2 articles discussing this. We're going to break it down. Let's get into it. So this article comes from the BBC and was written by Elise Davies. Ukraine war. Biden warns Putin not to use tactical nuclear weapons. U.S. President Joe Biden has warned Russia not to use chemical or tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Speaking during an interview with CBS News, Mr. Biden said such action would change the face of war unlike anything since World War II. He would not say what response the U.S. would make to the use of such weapons. And I mean, he can't really say that, you know, oh, we're going to fucking strike hellfire on Russia and like give them a fight that they've never seen before, because again, there's nuclear weapons involved, man. Like, as soon as we have any kind of significant military action between the U.S. and Russia, in my eyes, it's freaking game over, man. You know, they both have thousands and thousands of nuclear warheads. It's like a gun pointed to the head of almost everyone on Earth. Like, you should see, they have great breakdowns on YouTube that just shows that both sides like have all like thousands and thousands of warheads just pointed at specific points all across the US, all across Eastern Europe, ready to just devastate humanity, man. It's a dangerous and stupid game that they play, you know. The whole point, or the thing that these countries with more influence over the situation should be doing is suing for peace and trying to reach an agreement. But instead, the U.S. sends billions of dollars of weapons to Ukraine. They provide them with intelligence. And again, I say this every time I cover the war in Ukraine. Ukraine deserves to be sovereign. Russia is obviously the aggressor, and they're bad guys, but we live in a world that is not black and white, and it's gray. And sometimes, to limit human suffering, we need to think with our heads instead with our fists. You know what I'm trying to say. Fuck, man, words. Yeah. Russian President Vladimir Putin put the country's nuclear forces on special alert following its invasion of Ukraine in February. He told defense chiefs it was because of aggressive statements by the West. And again, like, the West has been extremely aggressive, where they probably could have avoided the conflict just blowing out of control and avoiding all these deaths if they had just, again, negotiated instead of trying to play the strong man. Russia is estimated to have around 5,977 nuclear warheads, according to the Federation of American Scientists. It, however, remains unlikely that it intends to use such weapons. Tactical nuclear weapons are those which can be used at relatively short distances, as opposed to strategic nuclear weapons, which can be launched over much longer distances and raise the specter of all-out nuclear war. Now, in my opinion, I still think that nuclear war is probably not likely. I don't think that there are world leaders who are willing to go that far, but just the fact that we have a world leader, Putin, threatening with nuclear weapons, putting the weapons on high alert, that's already unacceptable in my eyes, man. That's just straight thuggery and holding the entire world hostage and being like, you either let us do what we're going to do or we're going to take everyone down with us. It's just psychotic, evil behavior, man, you know? And every time I bring this up, I like to bring up the fact that direct democracy and more systems put in place to hold the people that we put in power accountable can prevent this. You know, like most countries you can't hold a vote of confidence for your leader to have re-elections. Like, that doesn't happen in the United States, and it doesn't happen in a lot of places. There are some places that are a little bit more progressive in terms of democracy, like places in Europe and like the UK, even though, you know, they're still fucked up and have their own problems. But come on, man, we've got to do better than this, and we've got to have leaders who just aren't just victims of the mindset of imperial power politics, you know? In an interview with CBS's 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley in the White House, President Biden was asked what he would say to President Putin if he was considering using weapons of mass destruction in Ukraine. Don't, was President Biden's response. Mr. Biden was then asked what the consequences would be for Mr. Putin if such a line was crossed. You think I would tell you if I knew exactly what it would be? Of course I'm not going to tell you. It'll be consequential, Mr. Biden responded. There we go with fucking Dark Brandon being a badass over there, man. He's like, why the fuck would I tell you, bitch? Good stuff. They'll become more of a pariah in the world than they have ever been, and depending on the extent of what they do, will determine what response would occur. Now, another reason why I don't think Russia would necessarily use nuclear weapons is, just like he said, it would make them a pariah in the world, and I think it would also seriously hurt their already struggling relationship with China and India. Like I covered yesterday, both of those countries are starting to get shaky with their relationship with Russia because they see how the war is affecting world economics and the supply chains. And those are two countries who are trying to rise up and become dominant powers on the world stage as the power dynamic is shifting, you know? So they don't want to be seen as pariah states and the supporters of pariah states and lose that kind of international prestige that they've been working to grow. You know, obviously both countries have severe problems. Like Modi, the guy in charge of India, he's like a far right Trumpian type figure who has done a lot of shitty things, and especially in regards to the stuff going on with the farmer strike that I don't think it's going on anymore, but it was going on for a long while. And obviously China has problems with authoritarianism and their insane social security apparatus. You know, they're not good states. I always say no state in this current geopolitical makeup is really a good state. It's all black and white. That includes Ukraine. But I digress, you know? So it's scary, man. Just, again, them trying to play the chess game and out-macho each other while lives are being lost and potentially millions, if not billions of lives could be at jeopardy because of these stupid power games, man. It's always sad to see when our leaders just can't figure things out in a way that actually helps people instead of just furthering their own imperialist ambitions, you know? Uh, so yeah, that's about it for that article. We're going to get into this one, which I'm excited to talk about in just a moment, man. Give me just 1 second. I'll get the energy, I promise. Go ahead, bro. Let me check it out. Media attachments unknown. You better not be showing me porn. You got blocked by Andrew Doyle, bro. What did you do to fucking piss him off? He's steaming, bro. He censored your ass. Oh my goodness. That is definitely a W, bro. You said I think he's been searching for my page for a while. So you're a freaking... Oh, hell no, bro. I barely use Twitter. I've been trying to get on top of that shit and build it up, but I mean, it's just too much stupid bullshit, man. Like, you haven't even talked. Preemptive banning, bro. Dude, the right loves censorship. You already know this, man. You know? I tweeted about trans rights a few times, though. That's probably what did it, man, you know? And I'm pretty sure he searches me. Dude, these people... That's another reason why I don't really use Twitter, dude. It's like, you really start getting into, like... Oh, like, people like this... They just get psychotic about it. Yeah, exactly, man. Where they're just angrily typing and blocking everybody who disagrees with them, and it's like, yo, chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? I'm sure as the show keeps on going on, I'll get into the drama and the bullshit. You know what I mean? But for now, I'm keeping this nice and fucking simple. Just stick to the news and fuck the drama. You know? But hey, you're doing the Lord's work, bro. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so this is a story that I really wanted to get into today, man. Like, I'm sure you've heard of the shit happening with DeSantis sending, I think it was a flight of like 50, I think it was Venezuelan. It was from, you know what, let me just look it up real quick. I have a video. Where the hell did I put it? Yeah. Documents. Well, regardless, there was about 50 undocumented immigrants that he sent to, damn, where did he send it to? I gotta be more prepared. To Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts as a sort of like disgusting political stunt to be like, oh, well, you guys love immigrants so much, here they are. Just using human beings struggling to survive in a cruel world for the sake of his own disgusting fascist power moves, dude. Like, God, man. So we're gonna get into this article and break it down. We got a video to watch about it, and yeah. So this article again comes from Common Dreams, and it was written by Jessica Corbett. Markey leads call for federal probe of DeSantis over cruel migrant stunt. U.S. Senator Ed Markey led 6 fellow Massachusetts Democrats in the House Friday in calling on the Treasury Department to investigate GOP Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' apparent abuse of federal COVID-19 relief funds to send 2 flights of migrants to Martha's Vineyard this week. So instead of using those federal funds to help the people of Florida, he uses it as a stunt to boost his numbers in the poll among his fucking rightoid freaks, man. It's I wouldn't expect any less from him, dude. You know, he's a very savvy political operator, and he knows what his base wants, you know? Markey and Reps representatives Jake Auchincloss, Bill Keating. You said he doesn't give a shit. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit about them at all, man. I was watching a speech that he was giving about it where you should have just heard the way that he was talking about this, man. Just so smug and like so self-satisfied at this stupid bullshit, man. Like he thinks he's so clever doing this, man. He just cannot see these people as human beings, man. You know, it's insane. Yeah. So Markey and Representatives Jake Auchincloss, Bill Keaton, Jim McGovern, Seth Moulton, Ayanna Presley, and Lori Trahan sent a letter to the department's Office of Inspector General, given the governor's use of the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund to cruelly relocate vulnerable immigrants from Florida to other states across the country. And he's kind of like the top dog in the Republican Party right now. Unfortunately, when the election comes up, I think he'll beat Trump if Trump tries to run. I've said it before, he's a competent fascist. He's a lot more politically savvy without doing the crazy shit that kind of put off a certain section of right-wing voters and independents from Trump. He rides a line, and he rides a reactionary line without showing the full-blown fascism. And when he does show that full-blown fascism, it's usually the type that, unfortunately, the less educated and more reactionary of our society respond to. The lawmakers suggested that the state's inhumane program violates federal law and urged the OIG to not investigate but also take all necessary action, including potentially rescinding any misused funds to stop this abuse of coronavirus relief programs. And another thing I want to add too is Florida got absolutely devastated by coronavirus, man. I think they were one of the places with the highest rates of infection and deaths in the country. So now you know why he was fucking scheming to do this fucking sick, disgusting bullshit instead of trying to actually help the citizens of Florida. The lawmakers suggested that the state's inhumane program violates federal law and urged the OIG to not only investigate, but also take all necessary action, including potentially rescinding any misused funds to stop this abuse of coronavirus relief programs. Reportedly lured in by false promise of jobs, 1 migrant from Peru and 49 from Venezuela, including children, were flown to the Massachusetts island community on Wednesday. While residents welcomed them and rushed to provide food, clothing, and shelter, DeSantis has faced intense criticism for what the lawmakers and others have denounced as a political stunt. And if you want to know why he sent them to Martha's Vineyard, Obama lives there, and the right-wing morons have it in their heads that he loves immigrants, and it's literally only just because he's a brown man. While he was in office, a lot of people called him deporter-in-chief. He deported more people than George W. Bush while he was in office, man. So, Obama is just a typical right-leaning corporate Democrat who talked the talk but did not walk the walk when it came to progressive ideology, man. So it's just stupid, man. They're trying to give his reactionary followers a bone, which they're great at doing, man. It's a lot easier for the right wing to get these points because people who are on the left, not necessarily the Democrats, but people who are like socialists and social democrats and progressives, they respond to actual material results instead of just identity politics bullshit and xenophobia, To pull it off, the lawmakers' letter explains DeSantis tapped a $12 million program that the Florida legislature created earlier this year to allow the Florida Department of Transportation to facilitate the transport of unauthorized aliens out of Florida. The letter highlights that the $12 million was funded through the interest earnings associated with the federal coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery fund, effectively using COVID-19 relief to score political points by exploiting vulnerable immigrants. This conflicts with Congress's intent for the SLRS, which was established with the American Rescue Plan Act, the letter argues. And before I get into the letter, it's $12 million, man. For that, so much could have been done in Florida to recover economically and socially from the pandemic with funds like that. Obviously, they probably didn't use all of that for busing these people, but I'm sure it costs tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, to pull off this bullshit. This is obviously just mishandling of state funds for, again, some sick, heartless shit, man. Like, the people in Florida really need to elect people into office who are better, man. Come on. As explained in the Treasury Department's final rule implementing the fund, the SLRF was intended to fight the pandemic and support families and businesses struggling with its public health and economic impacts, maintain vital public services, even amid declines in revenue resulting from the crisis, and build a strong, resilient, and equitable recovery by making investments that support long-term growth and opportunity. That rule further identified a limited set of uses for SLRF funds, including replacement of lost public sector revenue, responding to the far-reaching public health and economic impact of the pandemic, providing premium pay for essential workers, and investing in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. While the rule was designed to provide flexibility to state and local governments, Congress neither intended to allow or authorize state governments to use the SLFRF funds for immigration enforcement. Nothing in the American Rescue Plan Act or Treasury's final rule appears to allow states to use SLFRF funds to remove or relocate immigrants. Florida, therefore, appears to be illegally using taxpayer money for theatrics intending to criminalize and stigmatize immigrants in search for a better life in the United States. And I highly doubt that DeSantis will receive any kind of punishment for this, man. Like, this, we have a two-tier justice system. He's a rich fucking douchebag who has power, so he's gonna get away with this bullshit, man, you know? While, again, using human beings as props to further his fucking fucked up fascist propaganda, man. Totally fucking sick. DeSantis' Democratic challenger for governor, Charlie Crist, and California Governor Gavin Newsom, also a Democrat, have both openly supported involvement by the U.S. Department of Justice, with the latter suggesting in a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland that the Florida Republicans' actions could qualify for kidnapping charges. And I agree, man. I hope somebody does some shit about this. Again, I don't think it will, but I mean, could you imagine making that journey, struggling, seeing people die, trying to get to a place that is better, you know, coming from a place of devastation that most likely its devastation has roots in imperialism and corporate profiteering, especially in the case of South America, where throughout the 1950s and 60s, we supported so many fascist right-wing coups, employed shock and awe, and tried to install the Chicago School of Economics all across the globe, and especially in South America. And they're still rebounding from that devastation and profiteering off of suffering, you know? And coming from those conditions, getting here, being promised a better life and a better opportunity from this fucking slimy snake oil salesman type motherfucker, just to be paraded around and humiliated at your lowest point. You know, it's just, come on, have a heart, have a soul. These people are just trying to exist in a world where that has always been hostile to them, and they don't need more hostility. They need help. And, you know, it's not even true that immigrants, even illegal immigrants, hurt the economy. Study after study has shown that new workers coming in build up the economy. It puts more people inside of the economy and spending and working to grow the economy, man. Not that I really give a shit about the economy. We should base the metrics of our society on human happiness and dignity and decency, but that's what they love to talk about and harp on so much. Immigrants help the economy. Almost every study shows this, you know? So, disgusting shit. Nothing out of the ordinary for these fucking assholes, man. You know? All right, so those are the articles, man. Sorry for if I'm a little bit more low energy than last time. We're about to pump up that energy, get that mojo going. I'm going to take like a 5-minute break, smoke up a little bit, and then we're going to get to the reaction content of videos. That should be a little bit more high energy. You know, bear with me here. I'm not going to put up the splash. I'm just going to be on the couch freaking smoking a little bit. That's my freaking, my happy potion, man. I'll be right there. Gotta take a piss too. I'll be right back. Hello, hello. Kiss accomplished. Mission accomplished. I just gotta fucking light up this incense so apartment get mad at me for smoking inside. Thanks for tuning in, bro. I really appreciate it. You're doing good, man. We were rolling yesterday, bro. I know that most people, they don't really give a shit about the articles, but I like to do it anyway, and they perform like pretty decent on YouTube. But I like the reaction shit too, but I mean it is work, don't get me wrong, like, you know, you do gotta kinda like fucking think on your feet and shit when you're reacting to this content. But I would feel kinda shitty if I just like only reacted to videos without putting in some other kind of work and shit too. You know what I mean? I'm also gonna be doing like video essays and shit, but I just gotta get this rolling and get a groove of the streaming first, and then I'll be on top of that shit. You know what I mean, man? So I'm paranoid too, so I gotta get two of these. One by the door. I don't want to get evicted. That window to hide my crimes. Ugh. We're in Colorado, by the way, Twitch, so this is legal. I used to be able to fucking smoke like a chimney, dude, but recently, if I have more than a couple of puffs, I just get fucking panic attacks, bro. This shit's no joke. There we go. Yeah, man. All right. I can smoke and talk at the same time. Let's fucking do this. So, yeah, we got a little clip here just going over the outrage over the bullshit that DeSantis pulled, man. Again, just disgusting sick shit. Let's get into it.
Delving tonight, Governor DeSantis.
Oh, you know what? Yep, desktop audio is on.
DeSantis defending his decision to send 2 planes of undocumented immigrants to Martha's Vineyard.
And it comes as we learned the flight originated reportedly from Texas. Local 10's Cody Weddle is in Doral tonight with the backlash.
Well, Governor Ron DeSantis says this is all about communities across this country coming together to share the burden of immigration. But they're
You hear that fucking slimy shit, man? It's like some shit a kindergartner would do. It's like, well, you guys said that you liked them. We're just trying to, you know, work as a community. Just like, side of the mouth, fucking coy, smug bullshit, man. He knows exactly what he's doing, man. Just come out and say it. Your fucking fascist rightoid weirdos love this shit, you know? But they also love dog whistles, too. They love to not show their hand and just imply shit. Because it casts a broader net, you know what I mean? So the people who are adjacent to them, who might not be as reactionary, can be eased into that reactionary mindset, man, that dehumanizing mindset.
Questions tonight about how exactly his administration convinced dozens of Venezuelan migrants to board a plane to a small Massachusetts island.
There's absolutely no infrastructure in Martha's Vineyard to support any migrants.
Growing outrage tonight from the Venezuelan American.
He just straight up lied to them, bro. He promised them some fucking pipe dream to get them to go along with this shit. They even, I don't know if this was either DeSantis or the Texas governor, but one of them had the people transporting the migrants sign like NDAs so they couldn't talk about like the deals that they have or what was going on or the inside mechanics of how they did this. Man, it's just so sinister and evil.
Community over this. Governor Ron DeSantis confirming the state of Florida chartered 2 flights to Martha's Vineyard, a Massachusetts island known to be popular among the wealthy elite, dropping off 50 Venezuelan migrants.
And now he's carting them around like cattle from state to state.
Exactly,
Questions also
dude.
growing about how Florida officials...
I mean, look at that, man. How could you do that to these people, man? And I also think that the media is kind of sick for even going there and filming. I mean, I get that the story has to be out, but I mean, give these people some dignity, man. You know, they've given everything to try to get here. Imagine that. And this is how people, a certain section of Americans, treat these people, man. It cannot stand, man. It cannot stand. This is disgusting.
Carried out this operation and what exactly they told the migrants. NPR reporting that a woman approached the Venezuelans outside of a shelter in San Antonio, telling them they would be going to Boston where they could receive expedited work papers and would be provided housing. Tonight, Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried
That's not what happened, man. There had to be, he literally sent them there with no plan. He was like, all right, you fucking libcucks deal with it. And they had to find people, like volunteers to help these people, man. Jesus Christ, dude. Like, if you're gonna use them for political props, at least give them something, you know? He looks at them like they're fucking animals.
The Justice Department calling for an investigation into what she calls political human trafficking. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Charlie Crist on CNN this evening.
What kind of animal would do that to other people?
Jesus.
Well, apparently Ron DeSantis. Children being lured onto these planes with lies to their parents about getting employment when they would land up north. So,
could you imagine how crushed they felt after finding out that this was all a lie, man? They thought that they made it and they were going to live the fucking American dream. Jesus Christ, dude. That's just some sad, twisted crap, dude. Come on. There's really a fucking sickness of the soul in some people, man. Come on. How can you have that much hate in your heart?
Somewhere, I guess they mentioned Boston.
Se perfila como trata. Y es lo mismo que hacen los coyotes.
Tonight, Venezuelan activist Helen Villalonga comparing the governor's actions to the coyotes who deceive migrants in Latin America for human trafficking.
It's very unlikely that this would rise to the level of a criminal human trafficking investigation.
Right, I was just about to bring that up, man. Like, in a just world, that would be a fucking crime, man. Like, are you kidding me? That's just... I struggle to wrap my head around the callousness, you know? I know I'm repeating myself, but it's just... It takes the words out of my fucking mouth, dude. Jesus.
Prosecution.
And Cruz says that's because human trafficking would have to include an element of personal profit through some type of exploitation. The White House...
He did have fucking personal profit, man. I bet you his poll numbers are going up with all the freaking far-right people, man. Like, there's no other reason to do it besides personal gain, man. But, I mean, this system only cares about money. Otherwise, fuck you, you know? So we're going to end that video right there. Sick shit, like I said. All right, what video should I do next? I got up here in Russia. Vivek Ramsey. Fuck it, let's just do this one, man. So, Fetterman has been like absolutely fucking dominating Oz in the election in Pennsylvania. And because of that, you have a lot of these people like Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, I think Matt Walsh, all the, you know, prominent freaking talking heads on the right trying to run defense for like one of the fucking worst candidates I've ever seen in a race, you know? So we're going to get into his stupid bullshit and see what he has to say, man.
Democrats could still have a world of hurt on their hands come the election cycle. And some of these races, I mentioned the Fetterman race because, again, that one seems to me like a really low-hanging fruit for Republicans. All Mehmet Oz has to do is just put the focus squarely back on John Fetterman. The simple fact that John Fetterman is an extraordinarily radical candidate who also...
Radical, bro. Like, he's just like a typical progressive, man, and he's not that radical. Like, his takes on Israel are dog shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's like a populist, pro-union type guy. And he's a good guy, don't get me wrong. Just because he has one bad take doesn't mean like he's a piece of shit. But like he's not that radical, man. Like they think that helping common people at in any way at all is radical for these freaking people. They have like a Randian fucking bootstrap mentality that's just the reason why the U.S. is the way it is today, man. Why we have crumbling infrastructure, why we don't have free healthcare, because, like I said, just that mindset of selfishness has permeated throughout our population, you know?
Happens to resemble Uncle Fester and happens to have had a stroke that seems to have prevented his ability to speak publicly. Plus, he's just a bad candidate overall. I mean, these are all...
You hear that, man? Just like, they will stoop to any low to fucking try to get their opponent out of the game, man, you know? Like, I don't care if someone is like fucking with half their fucking foot in the grave. If they're gonna try to fight for me and my rights, then have them in, man. It's better than like someone who just doesn't give a shit about me and will just give away fucking tax cuts for the rich and fucking go send our fucking soldiers to die in pointless fucking wars. You know what I mean? Like that shit really does not matter. It's a distraction from the ideas and the policies. That's the only thing that matters, man, you know?
Factors militating against making a man who's been a career useless person but does wear Carhartt sweatshirts a senator. Okay, this guy he's unbelievably bad at this. And the fact that he's been treated by the media as somehow good at this is astonishing to me. I mean, yesterday, for example, John Fetterman, actually it was over the weekend, on September 11th, he did an abortion rally, basically, on September 11th, which is what you do on September 11th, apparently, if you're a Democrat.
Oh, my... Dude, that should happen 20 years ago, bro. It was a tragedy. Get over it, man. You know? Life goes on, and there's shit still happening. Roe v. Wade is extremely important, man. You know? It's like... They just want to keep you in that perpetual freaking fear. That's all that bullshit is, you know?
In Pennsylvania. And he was wearing his fabled Carhartt hoodie because he's one of you. He's one of the people. A person whose parents have basically supported him through his mid-40s and who is the mayor of a...
And, dude, like, I wish my parents did that. You know, there's nothing wrong with fucking helping the people you love out, man. You know, life is complex. People lead different lives, and now he's doing shit to help people. That's fine by me. Like, what's the fucking problem, dude?
Town of 1,800 people with a salary of under $2,000 per year, living in an apartment that he bought for $1 from his sister. And John Fetterman declared himself...
Good for him, man. Like, what? Does everyone have to fucking struggle in order to deserve shit, man? He's a human being. You know? Good for him.
John Fetterwoman on the campaign trail over the weekend, which, ladies, you can have him.
My name is John
Best part of that clip. If you can't,
That's kind that's kind of fucking goofy, but I mean, shit like that works. You know what I mean? Just lighten up. You know, fuck.
that's it. John Fetterman looks down. He's holding a pink shirt that says "John Fetter Woman," like a dolt, and he
Women, ew.
looks down at the shirt to remind himself that
I
it says
saw the
Fetter
video.
Woman. Now, this is not a hard joke to remember. His literal name is
You,
Fetter Man.
you hear how this boy is reaching right now, dude? It's like, come on. That's just normal ass shit. I forget what I did fucking 5 minutes ago sometimes. You know what I mean? And he's up on stage. It's like, come on, man. Be more substantive. Come on.
All he has to do is add a whoa in front of the man to get John Fetter Woman. But he has to literally look down physically at the shirt. He's not in great shape here. He has to look physically down at the shirt to
Ben Shapiro has a fucking photographic memory. He remembers everything at all times. Don't get it twisted.
remind himself that he is supposed to say Fetter Woman. And this is the person you want in the United States Senate if you are the people of Pennsylvania? Really? This person? And again,
I mean, it's better than the fucking TV con man, bro. Like, what the fuck? This dude has like 3 fucking mega mansions. He doesn't know shit about the working class. He's been a rich pampered prick his entire life, bro. Like, come on. Like, of course Fetterman is better. I mean, and even like the background doesn't even necessarily matter either. Like, if he was doing shit that would actually help people, then I would be for him. But no, like, he just is stuck in that freaking bubble that you get into when you become so wealthy. You just get disconnected, you know?
health problems are sad and difficult. Also, they can absolutely be disqualifying for higher office, obviously. And here, during that same rally, here's John Fetterman not being able to speak. This is a problem, guys.
You didn't have a doctor in your life making fun of it, making light of it,
Right.
or telling you that you're not fit to be served. Can you describe?
So he's stuttering a little bit, bro? Come on, dude. Are you serious? This is just ridiculous as hell, dude. What the hell?
A stroke and what's happened?
And again, it's like, he seems fine enough to me, man. It's the ideas, you know? Like, he's getting up there in age. Shit happens, you know? It's just reaching to the highest degree.
So it's the most important race for the Senate here for 22. We have to replace Pat Toomey. Senator Toomey was not
He's
very
not running
nice
against
to me.
To me.
Pat Toomey is a miracle. He had a chance.
I mean, you see how short these clips are, man? Like, they're 100% clipping it out of context, man. This is just straight up just free propaganda for Dr. Oz, man. That's all this shit is.
He had a chance
Oh, boy.
to match me up again. Abortion is the ballot now in November.
What? My goodness. That is hard to watch. Even the Washington Post is like, this guy might not be able to be a senator. The Washington Post editorial board put out a full-scale piece today talking about how John Fetterman needs to debate more than once for the Senate to demonstrate that he's actually fit for the office. Quote, the race might well determine which party controls the Senate. Voters would benefit from seeing the two candidates exchange ideas and test each other. Mr. Fetterman has seemingly been reluctant to commit to firm debate dates. That troubling stance has raised questions about whether he...
I mean, this is just an opinion piece. You know what I mean? Like, I say do whatever you need to do to win, man. You know, like, I would like to see him debate. And, you know, he needs to have like a functioning fucking brain to be in office. But even if he struggles with words a little bit while he's recovering from his stroke, it's like, he's up there, he's moving around, he's still doing all the shit going all over the place, man. That requires a lot of mental energy, you know? I'm sure he'll be fine, you know? I mean, he's probably just gonna go through the same shit over and over again, bro. I think we're done with that video. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think I'm gonna cut it a little bit earlier today. I'm not really feeling it, to be honest, bro. We got through some good shit, but I'll be on tomorrow for sure. Thanks for coming on, bro.